My name's Dr. James Weiner. I'm director of the Weiner Wellness Center. We're located at 2419 Baldwick Road, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15205. Our phone number is 412-922-WELL or 412-922-9355. Our website is drweiner.com, drwiner.com. We also have Facebook pages at Weiner Wellness Center and facebook.com James Weiner. We also are on Twitter, Dr. James Weiner. Today we're going to talk about body composition, which is more than just weight loss, but it's largely weight loss. But when you lose weight, you don't want to lose muscle. You want to lose fat. How many people here would like to lose weight? How many people knew me when I was fat? Any? Yeah, okay. I weighed about 70 pounds more a few years ago, and what happened to me was Jamie, my business partner in Nutritional Frontiers, arranged for me to give lectures in Shipshewana, the state of Indiana. So I don't know, it was about a 5-6 hour drive. We drove out there. And I did a professional seminar for the practitioners at a place out there, and that went very well. I spent the whole afternoon talking about candida yeast infections and low thyroid and parasites and various other common conditions that I think are underdiagnosed. But then in the evening, they had arranged for a public talk. We had maybe about 150 people there. And then when I did the question and answer period, one guy raised his hand and he said, "If you're so healthy and you eat so well, how come you're so fat?" Because I had a 40-inch waist and weighed about 235 pounds. Keep in mind, when I graduated college, I weighed 140. So I was overweight. Too much of a good thing can make you fat. Also, I had some bad eating habits. For example, I'd go the whole day without eating, and then I'd eat late at night and go to sleep. And some years ago, I attended a health seminar in California, and when I got to the room, it was right during the evening news, and they had a feature on sumo wrestlers because it was the first time that they had this international match on American soil in San Francisco. And they talked about, how did these people get so fat? These sumo wrestlers weigh 600-700 pounds. Well, they don't eat a lot of calories. They just eat at the wrong time. They go the whole day without eating, then they eat their meal and they go to sleep. And I thought, there I am. That's what I was doing. Yeah. I wasn't necessarily eating a lot of calories. And they eat like a couple bowls of rice and you know, maybe some vegetables, and they gain all this weight because their thermostat has been thrown off because they've gone the whole day without eating, and so their body thinks that they're starving. And they go into slow down mode where the body slows down how fast it's burning up the food they're eating. And a lot of people have this yo-yo syndrome where they've starved themselves and then they go back to regular eating and they gain the weight back. Just think Oprah Winfrey. I mean, this woman's had professional chefs, trainers, you name it, and she's always on this roller coaster ride of gaining weight and losing weight. So she probably, over her lifetime, has really screwed up her thermostat. So that's something that's very important to realize. Calories are important, but you want to eat something during the day. Now, there are a lot of side effects to being overweight. Unfortunately, the American population is one of the unhealthiest among the industrialized nations. We're only 4% of the world's population. We're consuming 75% of the world's drugs. And yet, we're 72nd in health according to the World Health Organization. There's 71 countries that are healthier than us. And we have this epidemic of obesity. Over half the children are overweight. Almost 2/3 of the adult population is overweight. All you have to do is look around and see how fat people are in America. And I was one of them. You know, I'd walk past store windows and the glass reflection would show my stomach, and I thought, oh my God, is that me? I mean, this little head on this big body. And my aunt in California, who's now almost 93, she'll be 93 in a few weeks, and she owns her own home, drives her own car, takes care of her son who's an invalid. She's in very good shape. Of course, she's been eating healthy food her whole life, takes no medications. She said to me, you know, Jim, you have to lose weight. And so I had tried dieting, was not that successful. And then Jamie had told me, since he was a physical fitness trainer by profession, he said, you have to exercise. So one day I decided, that's it. One Saturday, I drove out to LA Fitness, signed up, and the guy said to me, the first trainer I had, he says, you know, this is going to be very difficult. You're a vegetarian. I was, I guess, about 64 at the time or something. I'm now 67 and a half. And he said, this is going to be difficult for you because, first of all, a lot of people join up and after a week or two they quit, they don't come back. Second of all, you know, you're going to be eating carbs because you're a vegetarian and you're older and all this kind of thing. I said, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. Now, why do we want to lose weight? Because overweight is terrible stress on your heart. It leads to diabetes mellitus, which is a very dangerous disease. And of course, a lot of people are eating trans fats, and that clogs the arteries. High blood pressure, you name it. There's a lot of consequences that go along with being overweight. And so I started an exercise program along with diet. Now, how many calories are in a pound of fat? Anyone know? Anyone know how many calories? Do you know what a calorie is? Close, 3,500. A calorie is a unit of heat. And actually, we're talking about kilocalories when we talk about human calories. So there's 3,500 kilocalories in a pound of human fat. So if you want to lose a pound of fat a week, divide that by 7. That means you have to have a deficit of 500 calories. You have to burn up 500 calories more than you consume a day in order to lose a pound of fat a week. It's just simple numbers. Now, you can do that in two ways. Eat less or exercise more. If you do an hour treadmill, you'll burn up about 300, 350 calories. So when you want to go for that peanut butter cup, you realize it's going to take about an hour to burn up one peanut butter cup. One scoop of ice cream. I mean, you start realizing how hard it is to burn up the calories that you may be consuming in high-calorie foods. Fats, of course, contain more calories than even sugar. And unfortunately, people use a lot of fats in their food. So you need to limit the fats, need to limit the sugars, the refined carbohydrates. There's also the whole concept of food allergies. I used to put on very large health expos. Anyone here ever go to them back in the 70s and 80s? Probably not. This is a younger crowd. You did?
The Newen Center. That's when I first...
No, well, not the Newen Center, honey. I'm talking about when I rented the Syria Mosque or Soldiers and Sailors Hall. This is back in the 1970s and 80s. Just put on these huge health expos. We'd have like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people on a weekend attending. Anyhow, yeah, the Newen Center, that's probably 10 years ago, I think, at least. But I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago. Anyhow, we used to have a speaker, Dr. Marshall Mandel, and he wrote a book called It's Not Your Fault, You're Fat. And he postulated that a lot of people are overweight because they're eating foods they're allergic to. And more recently, Dr. William Davis, MD, has written 2 books. One's called Wheat Belly, and the other one's called Lose the Wheat, Lose the Weight. So he postulates that wheat is one of the most common food allergens, which it is. And so I tried to assiduously avoid wheat products. So calories count, exercise counts, and the types of foods you're eating count, whether it's high-calorie foods like oil or sugar, or whether it's foods you may be allergic to like dairy products or wheat. So I used the precursor to Super Shake, and Super Shake is what I use now as a meal replacement, because I said what you have to do is eat less calories, but you want to make sure you get enough nutrition. So this product we put together called Super Shake, it is vegan, vegetarian, wheat-free, soy-free, dairy-free powder that dissolves very readily in water. We have a shaker cup, but basically you can just stir it with a spoon and it'll dissolve in water. And that's what I use as the base. Now you can use fruit juice or almond milk or something like that, but of course that's more calories. And this has approximately 24 grams of protein in 1 scoop. The average person probably only needs 30 to 45 grams of protein a day. So if you take 2 scoops of this like I do a day, I do at least 2 of these a day, you've got all your protein. You don't even need to think about protein. Because you've got to have enough protein, otherwise some of these drinks on the market, and I'm not going to mention the names, but the one starts with an S and is 2 syllables. It doesn't have enough protein, so what happens is you end up eating up your muscle. So you will lose weight, but you lose muscle instead of fat. You don't want to do that, especially when you get older like me. there's a thing called sarcopenia where you actually lose muscle mass naturally anyhow. And so the exercise is really important for people over the age of 40, use it or lose it. You know, and you can do a lot of stuff at home. You don't have to join a gym. You know, let's say you're watching television, you can run in place. You can do sit-ups, you can do push-ups, you can buy some dumbbells at a fitness store and do some curls or things like that. So a lot of this can be done at home, costs you basically almost nothing. And so you can do exercise at home. Walking. Wintertime you can walk in the malls inside where it's heated and you don't have to worry about the ice. So you need to move it or lose it. But controlling what you're eating is very important. And the thing is, a lot of people are hungry, and that's why they overeat. A lot of times they're overeating because they're not getting the nutrients they need, and so their body causes them to overeat. You know, there's a book out, Overfed but Undernourished. People are craving nutrients because they're not eating enough. So the Super Shake will give you a lot of nutrition, not just protein, and it's hypoallergenic, low allergenicity because it doesn't have milk, soy, wheat, all those things that people may be allergic to. But we've put together some other formulas. Some of you may have heard of Dr. Oz. He has a TV show. And he's sort of like E.F. Hutton. When he speaks, people listen. And if he mentions a product, within hours, people are in here and calling up looking for the product. Well, he has talked about 4 different ingredients over time that can help lose weight. Actually, he's talked about 5, and I'll talk about the other one in a minute. But the first 4, green coffee bean extract, African mango, red raspberry ketones, and did I mention the green coffee bean? And the green tea extract. Green tea extract, green coffee bean extract, the red raspberry ketones, and the African mango. Well, we put a product together called Berrytone. And Berrytone has all 4 ingredients. So it's very cost effective. You don't have to buy 4 different products. You take this, I would say, 2 half an hour before a meal. And this will help you to lose weight. The other product, which we carried for years, not too many people would buy it until Dr. Oz and I were talking about it, Garcinia kombucha, which is another herbal product, another vegetable product. This also helps to lose weight, Garcinia kombucha. And then we put together a product called Control, and this helps with your sugar metabolism and sugar cravings. A lot of you might have low blood sugar and have sugar cravings. Maybe you can't maintain a consistent glucose level in your blood. So we have this product Control that you can use. And then a lot of research has been done on conjugated linoleic acid. Conjugated linoleic acid, and we have that in the tonalline. And it's been found if you take about 4 to 6 of these a day, that amount can help you lose a pound of belly fat a month. Just doing that and nothing else. So let's say you stick to the same diet and you don't exercise, you don't do the Super Shake as a meal replacement, and all you do is the tonalline, you could lose a pound of belly fat a month. In 12 months, that's 12 pounds. That's very significant. That's probably 2 dress sizes, maybe 2 inches off your waist. So what happened to me was I started losing weight. The first 5 weeks, I lost 20 pounds. The trainer at LA Fitness was in shock. He said, I guess you proved me wrong. Okay? I have sitting in my garage, because I'm a hoarder, large trash bags full of clothes that I can no longer wear. The extra large shirts, the size 36, 38, 40 waist pants. I'm not sure what I should do with them. Maybe I should give them to Goodwill, because I have bags of these clothes. There's nothing wrong with them except they look like they belong for a fat man in a circus or something. When I put them on, they're so ridiculously big. So it can happen. And so now I wear medium fitted shirts. I go to certain stores where you can get fitted shirts, not the regular shirts. It used to be staff members here would buy me presents for Christmas and my birthday, and the shirts kept getting bigger. A 16-inch neck, 16 and a half, 17 and a half, 18. So I have all those shirts. You know, anyone that needs them, contact me. I have those pants that are anywhere from 34 to 40-inch waist pants, because I now have a 32-inch waist. And of course, belts. Some of the belts were just ridiculous. I got tired punching holes in them, and you know, they were wrapped halfway around. So I had to get rid of those. So they're all sitting in my garage in plastic bags if anyone wants these large clothes that I no longer can wear. Suits. We have clothing racks upstairs. I hate to throw out suits. I got these suits I can't wear because they're like size 46 suits, and now I wear like a 41 or 42. And the pants are, you know, absurd. In fact, usually when I buy 41 or 42-inch chest size suits, I have to have the pants taken in, because usually there's only a 6 or 7 inch difference between the chest size and the waist size. That would make them 36 or 35. So they have to make them smaller to make them a 32. Now some people think, oh, wait a minute, you're still fat, because they look and they see this here. And see, that's not my waist. Here's my waist here. So I have to make a confession. I have a chest deformity. I have what's called pectus excavatum with rib flare. What that means is my upper chest goes in, my ribs stick out. These are my ribs. This is not my stomach. Here's my stomach here, okay? So some people see this protrusion here, and they say, well, you're fat, but that's not my belly. My belly's down here. This is a rib deformity that I've had since birth, and I actually went to Mayo Clinic in Phoenix, Arizona. There's one in Rochester, New York, but they have a branch in Phoenix. There's a Dr. Gerald Zuski there who specializes in correcting this. It's a very expensive operation. It's considered elective, so my Medicare will not pay for it. And it's very painful because they have to break all the ribs to normalize, you know, push this in, pull this out. I mean, then they put some metal in there, and I don't like the idea of metal in my body. So I haven't had the operation. But some people, when they see me, you know, without a vest or something, they'll say, well, you're fat. But if they press this, that's not fat. See, this goes in. This is soft tissue. That's my abdomen. These are my ribs. So if you're looking here and you're wondering, you know, hey, this is protruding here. These are my ribs. And then this goes in, so that accentuates this looking, you know, if this came out, it wouldn't look as bad. So I got to mention that for some of you that are very observant. All right, so the thing is, you have to lower the calories. You can take these supplements that help burn fat, like the tonylene, or things that help prevent you from gaining weight, like the Baryton and the Garcinia Cambogia. If you have a sugar craving, you can take the Control. And the Super Shake, I add the reds, purples, and greens to it. Now, I didn't pass out that literature. We have the reds, purples, and greens over here, already pre-mixed. How many people have tried them? Anyone here tried the reds, purples, greens? We're taking delicious, and I'll tell you, they're full of nutrients. Every single one has at least 30 nutrients in it. So this is a way of getting all these extra nutrients that will be absorbed more quickly than if you tried to eat the fruits and vegetables. I'm not telling you not to eat fruits and vegetables. Being a vegetarian for 44 years, that's basically most of my diet. But you're going to get it more efficiently through there, and it's a good supplement. And of course, a lot of people are still eating conventional produce that doesn't have the nutritional value of organic produce. How about children? A lot of these kids are not getting their fruits and vegetables. You can make ice cubes out of that thing and stick it in their drinks or sneak it in some other way. So I do a Super Shake a couple times a day, and I put in the reds, purples, and greens. I also put in brewer's yeast, which we sell here, because that's high in B vitamins. You know, I want to keep my hair, and one of the things why people don't have hair is because they're lacking B vitamins. And so I put a tablespoon of brewer's yeast in there, which we sell here too. And then exercise, if you have knee problems, maybe do low impact. Also, there's a thing called isometrics. Isometrics is where you're not moving at all. Okay, so you could take, let's say you had a barbell and you're going like this and you're straining to lift, you know, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120 pounds. You can do the same thing without any equipment. Just tighten up your muscles like this. See, it costs you nothing. And you're tightening up your muscles. You can do that with any muscle in your body. It's called isometrics, which means you're not moving. You don't need any equipment whatsoever. And you can actually, tighten up your, you don't like sit-ups, just pull in your abdomen and hold that for 30 seconds. It's not easy. And you're actually tightening up the muscles. So you can do the exercise. And as I say, if you don't want to join a gym, that's fine. You can, there's some advantages of the gym, which I'll explain in a minute, but you can do the running in place, watching television, you can do the isometrics, you can do walking, you can do push-ups, sit-ups, whatever. Joining a gym is useful because they have equipment that's at certain angles. So if you're doing push-ups, you're only getting one angle on your chest, and these muscles usually run on diagonals, most of the muscles in your body. So they have some that, you're going straight up, some you're going here, some you're going here. They have different angles. That gets different parts of the muscle. So there's an advantage to some of the machines they have there, but if you don't want to spend the $25 or $30 a month to join a gym, you can do a lot of this at home. Or the walking, I say, in wintertime in a mall, so you don't have to worry about the weather conditions outside. Any questions now? I saw you had a question.
Another advantage of isometrics is you can do them anytime. For example,
Isometrics, that's what I say. 3 o'clock in the morning you can be doing it.
Waiting when you're bored.
Yeah, there you go.
No one can see what you're doing. This is something active you can do.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you can do if you're sitting on a bus or you're a passenger in a car or you're sitting in a waiting room or you're waiting for the TV commercials to end. You can do these things on yourself. And you can tighten up, you can, let's say you want to get the calves, try to isolate the calves. I'm doing that right now. I'm tightening up the calf muscles, and you let go. The hip muscles, I start isolating these muscles and strengthen the muscles without moving anything. People don't even know you're doing it. When I was in high school, I'd sit at the desk and I would do this type of thing. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here with my finger and then 2 fingers, because I was trying to strengthen my fingers because I played piano, trying to move 1 or 2 fingers independently of one another. And, kids thought I was like weird because I didn't know about isometrics then. So I probably could have done a lot of that, just, like make a little claw thing, and you're tightening all those muscles. Of course, the muscles move your fingers are largely in your forearm anyhow. Anyone here with so-called carpal tunnel? Because most carpal tunnel is not carpal tunnel. It's usually coming from the forearm muscles. Other questions? No other questions? Very uninquisitive. Yeah.
You said you take brewer's yeast, and I was just wondering, how does that affect your gut health as far as like Candida?
It's dead. It's dead. It's not Candida is a live yeast. This is a dead yeast. It's not. Yeast doesn't feed on yeast. In fact, my dear late friend, Dr. Robert Mendelsohn, who was what he called a medical heretic, he was a pediatrician who was against vaccines, against a lot of the things they do to kids. He had me talk to a mycologist, a fungal expert at one of the universities in Chicago, and the guy explained to me, yeast doesn't feed on yeast. It feeds on simple sugars and fermented sugars. So if you do have a fungal problem, maybe you were on antibiotics or prednisone or cortisone, and you end up developing a fungal problem that a lot of doctors are mischaracterizing as C. diff, Clostridium difficile, but it's really fungal. Brewer's yeast will not affect it because the yeast doesn't live on that dead yeast. It wouldn't live on live yeast either. Now, you may get an immune reaction. If your immune system is very sensitive to yeast because you have a yeast problem, you may have some sort of reaction, but it's not feeding the yeast. That's a very good question. Other questions? Okay, so of those people who want to lose weight, who thinks they want to try some of these products here? Now, let me mention something about that I didn't take. We didn't have it at the time. It's called Best Whey, W-H-E-Y. Best Whey, we didn't have when I was doing my weight loss program. Not all wheys are created equal, just like not all supplements are created equal. What is different about this whey than what you're going to get in the health food stores or in a discount store? This comes from New Zealand. New Zealand is one of the countries where it is illegal to give livestock antibiotics or female hormones. So you have to understand, in America, what's happening is in order to increase the amount of milk they get from the female cows, they give them female hormones. And what happens when you eat those dairy products? You get the female hormones. And men as well as women have too much estrogen in their bodies. Now there's a lot of xenoestrogens, not just from food, like commercial dairy products, but also from pesticides on your food, plastic containers, waxes. Dr. Warren talks about the waxes in the commercial mouthwashes, and we do have the Miracle Mouth Rinse here. We don't have it on the shelf because we had a problem with the bottler with the seal. So when you open up some of them, the seal isn't intact on the inside, but the outer seal is intact, so it's never been opened. So if you're interested, if you've heard me talk about the Miracle Mouth Rinse, we do have it. We will want you to buy with an understanding the inner seal may not be on properly, and once we get rid of this stock, we have a different bottler who will put the seal on properly, but it doesn't affect the sanitation of it. But anyhow, there are a lot of xenoestrogens, but one of the most important sources for it is commercial dairy products. So ours comes from New Zealand, no antibiotics, no female hormones. And that makes a big difference. So if you want whey, which is a very good thing to build muscles, and you're not dairy intolerant, you could get our best whey. Yeah.
I have a question about whey and about, I was just reading about a woman who makes cheese from milk. And my understanding was that the protein in the milk separates and you got the cheese part, which is, I thought, the protein, and then the whey is the water. But now you have best whey protein in this product. So do you understand? So maybe
well, whey here. The protein content, it's almost 27 grams per scoop. So there's protein in here. No, there's protein in here. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and whey.
Yeah. Well,
remember that? I didn't know what that was when we learned that poem.
I don't know. I thought the protein was in the cheese, and I just put this together. I was reading this book within the past couple of weeks, and so now I need to do some more research about just where the protein
Now, there's protein
is
in the whey. So this is whey, and there's 27 grams of protein per scoop. In the super shake, we have about 24 that's vegan vegetarian from pea, rice, and pumpkin protein. Yes, sir?
Milk product, dairy products cause me to have sinus problems.
Well, that's why I would recommend our super shake, which is dairy-free. Yeah, I agree. I avoid dairy myself. I seldom eat dairy. I certainly haven't drunk milk.
I shouldn't use this whey.
Well, no, that's the whey. This is the non-dairy one called the super shake. They're two different products, sir. That's the whey, and that's a dairy product. If you have a problem with dairy, as I mentioned before, I would not use that. I would use this, which is vegan, which means there's no animal products in here, including no dairy. It's pea, rice, and pumpkin protein. Good question. Other questions? Okay, well, we'll sign off. That'll give you a few-minute break. We're going to have Dr. Epitropoulos again. If you didn't hear before, we have this new technology that is a self-help device. You know, there's this concept, you give a man a fish he eats for a day. You teach him to fish he eats for a lifetime. So a lot of what we do on the radio and even here is show people, tell people things to do that they can help themselves, because ultimately, you're responsible for you. You know, now there are treatments we do here that maybe you couldn't do to yourself, but a lot of what we do is show people stretch exercises. We'll tell them things that they can apply themselves. Go get Vicks Vapor Rub for a fungal infection. You know, we tell you things you can do yourself. So this Micro Mini is an amazing tool, self-help tool, and we're selling at a big discount here, $150 instead of $200. And you get a brochure, and also you'll be able to watch the webinar if you have access to the internet. So he'll be speaking in about 10 minutes. He came all the way up from Ormond Beach, Florida. And so you may want to stick around for that. Plus, of course, the store with all the samples, including, we do have samples of the best whey. We have samples of the Super Shake and samples of the reds, purples, greens, oranges, and some of our chewables. Thank you very much.